is budget. And, you know, when we talk about design decisions, I try to get it as far away from some subjective decision about, like, I think this looks good, because we have plenty of other people that are thinking about that. And so I can say, we're using this UI that is not a hamburger hiding things because we want, one of the goals is for people to interact with it. And you need to be able to see it if you're going to interact with it. And so, you know, I'll try to, like, you know, tie some design decision to some goal like that. But yeah, presenting your design. James.
What is the role for a UX UI developer in, I guess, this age of voice control assistants like Alexa and etc.?
Yeah, great question. So if you've ever gone into the Amazon developer guidelines, they've got, they have protocols for intonation. And so I could say everything like a robot and then it would sound really bad. Or I could say everything crazy. And then, you know, and you can do all of this, like, you can design the drama of the speech or something like that. And so it's an interesting medium right there to play with. So there's that. And then I think what you need to know, what you have to do with that is basically just like crazy decision trees, I think. Unless you get into some algebra where you're fitting, like, okay, if these are all of the responses, I mean, it's going to get into like heavy computational stuff and machine learning where, like, if there are tons and tons of responses that someone could potentially yell at their Alexa or their Google or their whatever, and I've definitely said some weird stuff to my Alexa sometimes, but, you know, you have to find some sense of that. And it either starts with you having a very rigorous decision tree, and I mean that's like a choose your own adventure. That's a game right there, right? And games like Detroit that's coming out, and all of those like I mean, even goes back to like FMV type games. Like you can build structures that help, and people can like find out which way it ends. There's some game that's out right now called Nier Automata that is apparently, after you play it through, like play it and beat it, then the game starts. And then you play it through and beat it again, and you've maybe spent 100 hours already on that. Then the game really starts. And like the number of times that you beat it, the more interesting the game becomes, and you get into facets that you've never played before. And it's just bananas to me, like how many different permutations you could come up with. And so I think, you know, actually to that question, Excel and spreadsheets are a design tool. You need to be able to say, if A, then B. And you build those out, and they say, okay, Alexa, play music. And then, you know, as a developer of this thing, you're tied to their, I mean, Amazon's going to say, oh, because Pandora paid us enough money, and you're a designer for Spotify building a Alexa skill, you might have to say, play music from Spotify, and you have to know that the syntax to get it to work right. And so you're working in human interface guidelines. And so more book recommendations for those of you that are working in like native or platforms that are not open, like HTML. Check out the human interface guidelines for those things. Like Apple, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, they all publish human interface guidelines that tell you exactly what you can and can't do and how to do those things. And I think those are great resources.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Want to get out of here? It's kind of hot in this room, right?
A little warm.
Yeah, a little warm. Okay.
I have a question.
Okay, shoot. Last one.
It's probably dumb, but
I doubt it.
when during UX process do you start thinking of UI?
For me, all the time. But I keep myself in check pretty well. For my students, I don't let them start thinking about it until they've started to do some learning, right? Before you start to do the make, do some learning. And learning could just be look at other, use a ton of different Alexa skills, like play around with all the things that are out there. Because I think there's a Batman game for Alexa that's actually pretty phenomenal. I haven't played it myself, but I constantly hear good things about it. And so I would want to know what they do to handle errors, to handle mispronunciations or things like that. And how they do it without breaking the magic of the game, right? Like, do they say like, we're sorry, that didn't compute? Or is it Bruce Wayne, or like, somebody in there that's like, that says like, sorry, Master Wayne, we couldn't quite hear you that time. I don't know, something like that. So yeah, I'm thinking about UI after learning, mostly. Yep. Okay. I don't have any cards, but lukemiller@ngs.org if you want to email me. And yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank you.
I feel like I just used your questions to like pepper in everything else in here. Yeah.
I'll get you unhooked.
Oh yes, I would have gone on the bus with that. Can I just do this way?